Welcome, Ron Berger.
Thank you. I just want to start by saying I am very proud personally, and also on behalf of Yale Education, to be part of this movement. And I also love being in a lineup with Lindsay and Gia and Carlos. Here's my message today. Not going to be a big surprise. One of the things that unites us here in Deeper Learning is the understanding that kids can do extraordinary things. That students can do work that's far more sophisticated and more significant than people realize they can do. And so, for over 40 years, I'm dating myself a bit here, and 25 years with EL, my personal passion has been lifting up that work of your students, our students, and students everywhere, and giving people a different vision of what's possible when we empower and compel students to do work that matters, beautiful, meaningful work. So, I typically use the word beautiful work when I talk about that. And Gabe, let's run some slides on that. I have to be honest and confess that for 40 years I've been getting cool feedback about the word beautiful. So the word beautiful is too constraining, it's too narrow, it's culturally bound, it's subjective. And I'm just going to say right now, I understand all that critique, and I have stubbornly, doggedly stuck with the word beautiful. Because this work is beautiful to me. It is so beautiful. And when I use the word beautiful to talk about this work, I'm not just talking about artistically beautiful. I'm talking about mathematically beautiful, scientifically beautiful, historically beautiful work. So, there is a danger, though, when I use the word beautiful work, that you might think it's only the final product that kids create that is the obsession around beautiful work. And today I want to talk about something different, which is beautiful action, acts of consequence, acts that students do that are in service of social justice, equity, compassion, service. So let me just use an example. The movement begun by Parkland students that's taking over this nation, if there's a better example of beautiful work, I don't know, right? So I want us, when we think about beautiful work, to talk about the work that looks like this and also work that's making a difference in the world. So I'm here today actually just to share one piece of student work, and it's not a beautiful final product. It's an action in service of social justice. Interestingly, it connects to the single piece of student work, which may be the best known piece of student work in the world right now, Austin's Butterfly. So this is what I want to tell you about Austin's Butterfly. If you have seen that video of Austin's Butterfly, you might have noticed in that video that there was a very thoughtful young man, Atak Deng Natali. And he was one of the kids giving critique in that video, and I'm going to give you an update on his life today. So he was a 4th grader when we made that video. So, if you haven't seen that, I'm going to roll a short film for you now that has a few clips where you can hear Atak's thoughtful critique. So Gabe, could we run that first clip?
It's not bad, and it is a butterfly, but does it look exactly like this?
No.
No, it doesn't yet. It doesn't look exactly like this yet. And so they didn't look at this and say, good, Austin, you're done. They said, Austin, good start. Who else would add something? Atak, what would you say?
How about the angle? Because, not to be mean about
Yes.
the angle, it's just not exact, so...
Okay, so show me. Come on up here, Atak. Show me what you would ask him to do slightly differently.
Like to make it a little longer.
Longer where? Draw where you would do it.
Right there.
Okay, so pull this out longer.
Yeah.
That's very specific, Atak. Thank you. Jamila, what would you say? Did he go out further, like Atak was suggesting?
Yes. Yeah.
Did he add some jaggedness here,
Yes.
like Cindy? Did he get rid of that bottom thing?
Yes.
So he did listen to his friends, and he made it better. It's not perfect, What do you think about how much progress he made? And Tak, what would you say about his progress?
He made like a lot of progress. He persevered doing it. His friends were honest with him.
Okay, so I'd love a talk, just let me say. I also want to say that this past fall, the EL Education Network had a conference exactly this size, 1,200 educators, and Atak was our keynote speaker. But I do need to share with you that Atak is now in high school, and as a 9th grader, he was the target of a hate crime. Atak's family are refugees from the war in Sudan. And it may not be, actually, unfortunately, that surprising that in today's America, he was the target of a hate crime. What is surprising and extraordinarily beautiful is how his school responded to that incident. So the piece of beautiful work I'm sharing with you today is not a butterfly. It is a student action in service of social justice and compassion. I have it on a short film. We're going to roll that now.
Friday after school, me and my friends were walking down to the bus stop. All of a sudden, a guy just walks by, just yelling racial slurs.
No fear! Students at Casco Bay High School marched out of school early, protesting what they say was a hate crime.
He said, you go back to where you're from, and my friend Bubby said, why do you think you belong here more than them? And that's where a mini conflict happened when the guy punched my friend Bubby in the face.
In response, both students and teachers at Casco Bay High School decided that action needed to be taken to show support for those students affected.
I just felt like I kind of didn't belong, I guess, where I was standing.
There was a flood of responses quickly about, we got to respond.
When I first walked into school on Monday, you could totally feel the climate. Everyone was in shock.
I quickly knew we needed to involve student leaders in our response.
We had a conversation with the civil rights group. It was a school-wide courageous conversation in regards to the incident. We decided to have and host a march to walk in solidarity with the 4 students. Being a school with a lot of students who are diverse, Casco Bay High School does a really good job of integrating and making it a very accepting environment for all students.
We do that through structures that support that happening, whether that's crew or teams of teachers working with teams of kids.
From the very start, from when I was a freshman, I totally got that this school is focused on community.
We do trips with the freshmen where we send them out in the wild for 3 days and 4 nights to really form community and to learn how to battle through the struggles of being with people who aren't like you. It also happens through every day a gazillion actions where adults show compassion and reach out to kids.
The freshmen are put together in crews, which is basically your family for the rest of the 4 years that you're here at Casco Bay High School. Our school has a focus on conflict resolution. That's really huge. We have this thing called Courageous Conversation.
Whatever students really want to talk about but are struggling to find a constructive way to do, that's what these conversations are for.
I don't think we would have had a very effective Courageous Conversation that Monday when the incident happened if we were not prepared to respond the way we did through other conversations that we've had.
People should have courageous conversations like Casco Bay does. If they gain the same support as I and my friends did, and I might influence their mind to influence others not to do what that young adult did, and that would just make the world a little bit more peaceful.
Most important things I've learned from expeditionary learning is the importance of having social justice issues at the core of your curriculum. Kids are going to get excited and inspired by it. It's what gets them engaged heart and head. The second reason is because it's the right thing to do. Because we need kids fighting for social justice issues. We need them prepared to take on the issues of the day. And the sum of kind of the structures and the million everyday actions of the people in those structures is what leads to kids having the courage to bring their full voice to the world.
No fear! Everyone is welcome here.
So the incident showed us how resilient we could be in the face of adversity.
The whole school went down to march. That's what Casco is all about, having each other's backs, being I guess like a second family.
We could have chosen to take the other side. We could have chosen to be negative, 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 but we decided to walk peacefully in solidarity, and that's huge.
It just made me feel like I was home and that people cared about me and my friends.
So in closing, I have an invitation to you all. If you know acts of courage, compassion, kindness, service, and justice that you have documented, consider sharing those. We host the world's largest collection of beautiful work. That beautiful work are some of the images you saw today and actions like this. Models of Excellence website, it's open source, free to the world. We do hope that you will submit work. Not everything that gets submitted gets uploaded, but it's all to share with the world. And many of you in this audience have work from your students on our site. Please do think of sharing it. And please, if you haven't already joined the Share Your Learning campaign, get on board with the millions of students, across the country who are being asked to share their work of consequence, their work that matters, with their families, with their communities, and with the broader world. Because students are capable of way more than we understand. Thank you for getting with me in this vision of beautiful work. Thanks.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you so much.